Welcome back, design students. Let's add some materials and lighting to our scene and set it up for the final render. A couple things about these types of systems here. If you change anything about this geometry or this geometry, make it bigger, move it, change it in any way, then you're going to have to select whichever one you changed, go to the FX tab, find cloth, and make them passive colliders again. You also can't simply delete this funnel. If you do, it will mess up the simulation. So we have to hide it. To hide the funnel, select it, come up to Display, find Hide, and click Hide Selection. We also can't delete the particle emitter or anything else about the particle system. That's okay, these things don't render anyway. Now we're going to use some advanced Arnold materials, so let's go ahead and switch to the Arnold renderer. And we're going to put our standard Arnold light scheme in here. Go to Arnold, Lights, Sky Dome, and then find the rendering shelf and select Direct Light. Move it up so you can see it. Scale it up if you need to so you can see it a little better, and then give it some rotation. You can adjust this more later. Next, select your bowl and then right click anywhere in the scene and find Assign New Material, and we're going to click Arnold and assign the AI Standard Surface Shader, and then find the shader node in your attributes editor. Now these shaders have some really powerful presets, so if you click on the presets button, one of the great looking ones we're going to use here is glass. I know it doesn't look like much now, but it will when we render. So let's go ahead and do that. Click play and you'll see how great that looks. You can even give it some color if you want by finding the transmission rollout, clicking the color swatch, clicking the color. And we don't want that much color, but we can give it a little tint by desaturating that color. We need to desaturate it quite a lot just to give it just a little bit of a blue tint. And you can see it right there. And now let's have some fun with the particles. Select the In Particle item in your scene outliner, and that green box should appear. And you now have all the particles selected. With those selected, right-click anywhere in the scene and click Assign New Material. And we're going to go to Arnold and click AI Standard Surface Shader. You may have noticed that I crashed when I changed some things here. These processes are really stressful on your computer's graphics capabilities and their central processing units, so you really need to save very often when you're doing this. After you add anything, save. So as I said, we're going to add a material to the particles, so select In Particle in your outliner, and then right-click anywhere in the scene and select Assign New Material. I'm going to assign an Arnold Standard Surface Material. Once we have that material added, if it's not already open up the base rollout. And we're going to select color, but we're going to add something to color here. We're going to add a jitter map that will change the color randomly. So click on the little checker and select Arnold, and then type in jitter. And we want the AI color jitter. And then very importantly, we need to change the type here from user data to face. And now let's render the scene so we can see the material. And in order to make this change, we need to click the input swatch and select a color. Any color will do, and it will make the whole thing whatever that color is. Here under hue, we can set a hue min and a hue max. And as we do, it changes the colors and makes them random. You can just leave it like that if you want, but if you want some white ones in there, you need to come up to the color swatch and drag your saturation slider all the way to the end to white, And then we need to change the saturation min so that we will have some white ones. If we drag it all the way, it won't do anything. But if we drag it back here, it will make some nice pastel Easter looking ones. But if we can drag it just right, we can get some white ones mixed in there. And let's set up for our final render. Let's go to the render settings button right here. Bring up the render settings. Change it to JPEG. Change the output size from 540 to HD 720. And then let's up the Arnold quality just a little bit. 4, 3, 3. We do have some transmission here, and we do have some subsurface scatter. Then let's click close. And then let's select the bowl. And I want to add one more thing to the material for the bowl. So find its material node here, and find the advanced rollout, and turn on caustics. And when you do, you can see that brightens up the scene a lot. And it also adds some really nice lighting highlights for the glass. And let's bring up the Arnold render view. Let's close this one and bring up the Arnold render view. And then we can sort of move that over to the side here a little bit. Click play and frame our shot. We want to see those candies, so zoom in. Maybe we want to see the top of the bowl a little bit. Get it to look really nice. Let it render all the way. And once it's done rendering down here, click File, Save Image, save it to your desktop or your project folder, and turn it in. Before you do your final render though, I think it would be good to select your bowl and push Smooth Preview. So after I turned on Smoothie, you can see I have a very nice render here of my bowl. And I'm going to go ahead and save this image. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson and tutorial, and I will see you in the next project.